Training camps abuzz with things like joint practices. Boy Green will be reporting on the Jets and the Bucs. And our NFL Insider, Matt Lombardo, who joins us in just a moment, will take us to Ravens camp, Pittsburgh Steelers camp, and another visit to my Giants. He just hasn't gotten there yet, but we'll preview it. The Manchild Show with Boy Green Digital live on a Wednesday starts right now.
Let's go! It's time for the talk to you. 'Cause when you're born, it's always coming through. And Boy Green is always on the scene. And what you're always bringing to your lives, so get ready. Get ready, 'cause here they come.
All right, welcome aboard, everybody. Manchild Show with Boy Green Digital, live here on a Wednesday. It's the robust afternoon show now, 3 o'clock on Mondays and Wednesdays. I know we dropped you a little recorded live on Monday, but Boy Green was on his way to go see the Jets in that joint practice. We're going to talk all about that. We are presented today by Northeast Roofing Professionals. Today's video brought to you by our friends at Box Drop Syracuse, where you can save 30 to 70% on your next mattress or sofa. So go see our friends at Box Drop today, right here in good old Central New York in Syracuse, right off of Route 11. Save yourself a ton of money. Go see our friends at Box Drop today. I don't know if you noticed, BG, but over my one shoulder here, I found a little place, at least temporarily. That is indeed the WWE belt.
Child?
With my finger. You see it there? I'm tickling it. With
Oh,
my finger.
I see the jersey that says child. Whose child?
Yeah. And look at that.
Manchild.
Manchild 22 jersey over my shoulder now. I picked that up over the weekend. I'll give you the backstory on that maybe later in the show. Thanks for picking up on that. I figured you got Boy Green 25 maybe once in a while, instead of hanging, the Malik Neighbors or the Eli Manning back there, I'd throw my own name back there. There you go. Look at that. We're like bookends here. So
there you go. Very nice.
Anyway, welcome aboard, everybody. It's great to be with you. Good afternoon, Boy Green. And let's bring in our NFL Insider from between the hash marks, the one, the only, Mr. Matt Lombardo. Welcome to the party, Matt. How are you?
Manchild Boy Green, great to have the band back together. No jersey for me, but we do have the old nameplate from Quest Diagnostics in East Rutherford right over there from my desk when I was at NJ.com.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Beautiful. That's a nice touch. Are you going to bring that when you go to Giants camp tomorrow, Matt? You're going to just slap it back? Yeah, presto, pow.
Yeah, I don't think that Connor Hughes or Ryan Dunleavy or Jordan Ronan would take too kindly to me just throwing the magnet back on whoever's desk is right there. So it'll say here, not nice memento from a bygone era of my career, but a fun souvenir nonetheless.
All right, I want to get into your training camp sojourn here in just a moment, Matt. Let me start with a story, though, that broke just a couple of days ago, and I want to get your take on it, and that is Kyler Murray named starter of the Minnesota Vikings. I'll tell you in all honesty, I'm not surprised by this at all. I thought he was going to be the starter. I didn't think they brought him in there to warm up the guy on the bench. JJ hasn't shown enough, in my opinion, so far. I figured at the very worst, they'll sit him down for a year, see if he can pick up the system a little bit better, and then maybe if Murray doesn't work out, maybe they give JJ one more chance. But give me your thoughts. I mean, the Vikings announcing this fairly early. Kevin McCarthy O'Connell getting right down to business. Go ahead.
Yeah, nobody should be surprised by this. This was always trending to Kyler Murray being the starting quarterback. But what kind of mildly shocked me just a bit was how quickly Kevin O'Connell pulled the plug and made this announcement. Because, look, I've covered the NFL for 15 years. I was a beat writer for close to 10. That means that I was in training camps every single day for 10 years, talking to coaches, watching practices. You always listen. You always watch and saw what coaches did rather than what they said. And every day it seemed like Kevin O'Connell was coming up to the podium and espousing the virtues of both quarterbacks. And usually a head coach will drag this on for the sake of keeping both quarterbacks sharp and ready to go. But you look at what they do. And dating back to last week, there were already several practices where Kyler Murray was taking 65, 67, 70% of the first team snaps. That competition's over. When you're not splitting the reps, when you're not giving equal opportunities to both quarterbacks to try to quote unquote win the job, you've made your decision. So what I think this tells you is a couple of things. Number one, it doesn't sound like Kevin O'Connell was all that intent in trying to save J.J. McCarthy. It didn't sound as if they wanted to drag this on through August, through the preseason, to try to show that they were right to draft J.J. McCarthy, right? This doesn't seem like he was who Kevin O'Connell pounded the table for in the NFL draft. And I think number two, it's the smart move because it gets you every opportunity from here on out to give Kyler Murray 100% of the first team reps, continue to get the timing down with Justin Jefferson, with Jordan Addison, get him comfortable in that scheme. Because what we've seen from Kyler Murray in the past, the athleticism was always there. The arm strength was always there. The timing, the consistency. That's what you need to see from Kyler Murray. It's a quarterback-friendly system, but it's a system he still needs to continue to master before they kick off the regular season in week one. So I think this was a refreshing move on Kevin O'Connell's part to pull the plug on this competition and call game this early in the process.
But Matt, like a preseason game hasn't even happened yet. I mean, if you want to
crown him, then crown her.
If you want to crown him, I guess crown him, which clearly he's already done here at Kyler Murray. But I ask you this, Matt, because it has to be one or the other. With him, Kevin O'Connell, the Vikings head coach, crowning Kyler Murray QB1, that's just one of two things. Either that is a compliment to Kyler or an insult to JJ that he was so bad. He's like, oh boy, the choice is so clear. No mas. I need to see no more. It is clear as day that Kyler's just the guy. So which one was it? Is this a compliment to Kyler or an insult to JJ?
Yeah, Paul. I think it's a bit of both here, right? Because I think we all saw with our eyes the limitations of J.J. McCarthy last year. We all saw in the stat sheet the completion percentage that was like 52%. We all saw the shortcomings of J.J. McCarthy, and it felt like a reach of a first-round pick from the very beginning. So I think that's one thing. You put that up on the shelf of this was an indictment of J.J. McCarthy as an NFL quarterback. But on the other hand, and on the other shelf, remember, Kwesi Adofo-Mensah is no longer there. It's a new general manager in place in Minnesota. There's a modicum of pressure on Kevin O'Connell to win. You have an elite defense. You have what could be a top 5 defense in what Brian Flores throws out there every single week. You have arguably the number 1 wide receiver in the sport, probably a top 3 to 5 wide receiver duo in the NFL, a really good offensive line. You need the quarterback. You need to deliver, and Kyler Murray gives them the most upside. And I think that if you're a head coach who you might not be coaching for your job just yet, but we might have those conversations in October or November if this goes sideways again for Minnesota. If that's the lens that Kevin O'Connell views this season in for himself, you're taking the best quarterback, you're getting him ready as soon as possible, and you're hoping to hit the ground running. So I think that this was both an indictment of J.J. McCarthy and an endorsement of what they hope Kyler Murray can be.
Mm-hmm. You think McCarthy's job for the future is in jeopardy here, Matt, in terms of being a number 1 ever? Where do you think that stands at this particular point? I know we're very, very early still in this young man's career.
Yeah, I think it's way early to make any sort of prognosis into what J.J. McCarthy is, but I think that what he would benefit from is to go somewhere like a Los Angeles with the Chargers, with a Jim Harbaugh who coached him at Michigan, knows his limitations, knows how to win with them, wants to play a downhill ground and pound offense. You can learn in a quarterback room with Justin Herbert, with a Mike McDaniel. You can go to a place perhaps like a Los Angeles with the Rams and be a backup for Sean McVay alongside Simpson, the kid that Tyler Simpson they drafted out of Alabama. You can go to a San Francisco and be a number 2 or a number 3 behind Mac Jones and Brock Purdy with Kyle Shanahan. Go into one of those other quarterback academies because you've spent 2+ years in Kevin O'Connell's system, one of the top quarterback whisperers, if there is such a thing in the NFL. But it just seems like the expectations of being a first-round pick and just the situation would benefit from a change of scenery. Go hear from one of the other great gurus. Go hear from one of the other great quarterback coaches and take the Baker Mayfield, the Sam Darnold path into what you can be in the later stages of your career. Because right now, he does not look like an NFL quarterback, or at least a starting quarterback. That doesn't mean he can't develop into one with the right coaching along the way.
So with what you just said, do you believe JJ is just like, well, I'm the backup. All right, I'm going to hold this clipboard and just be the guy. And if Kyler gets hurt, which by the way, he has missed half of the season of each of the last 2 seasons. Yeah. So if that is any indicator, JJ will eventually get back on the field if he remains a backup. But sometimes when guys are in this position, right, he was a first round pick. That normally means you're eventually going to be the savior. And when you have gone in this position where now you're benched, like that person get frustrated. Look at Indianapolis, right? Anthony Richardson is not going to be starting the season. He was a top 5 pick. He was a first-round pick. He requested a trade that has since not been met yet. Do you expect JJ to pursue that path and okay, Vikings, you don't want me, fine. Maybe someone else will. I'm going to demand a trade and get my way out of here. What's more likely? He just stays in Minnesota as the backup, or he forces his way out and gets traded to, again, some of those teams you were mentioning?
Yeah, I don't know that he has the leverage to force his way out, right? But I think that what we're going to see is sometime over the next 3 weeks, there might be a starting quarterback who gets hurt in these preseason games. There might be a quarterback who has a non-contact injury in practice. I mean, it happens every summer. It's an unfortunate reality of doing business in the NFL, an unfortunate reality of training camp and how preseason games are structured. But if a contending team loses their starting quarterback, then I think the Vikings will get calls and will get phone calls and interest in JJ McCarthy as a guy to come in either as their new backup quarterback number 2 to provide depth, or that they saw enough that they think he could become a starting quarterback. I think that last part of it's unlikely, but I think that we're going to learn a lot about the course JJ McCarthy's career takes in the short term over the next 3 weeks here, based on what happens in other situations around the league.
All right, Matt, let's talk about your training camp trips because you've been visiting a bunch of teams. Let's start in enemy territory for me these days as well, since, their coach is now ours. And supposedly everything I'm reading is, Jesse Minter is a god. He's, this guy's never even been a head coach yet, and we're going to crown him. All right, talking about crowning guys ahead, Boy Green. I want to crown this guy.
Why are you insulted already? You took their coach. Why do you care if he's heralded to some genius? What thing do you have against the Ravens?
Nothing. But the inclination here is now without Harbaugh, we're going to ascend. That he was somehow a poison in the water here, holding us back. Yeah, dream on. You're going to see what life after Harbaugh's like without him. Okay, we'll see, Ravens. Okay, we'll see. Super Bowl, please.
Look, two things can be true here at once, right? It can be true that after 12, 13, 14 years, whatever it was, that John Harbaugh was in Baltimore, that it got stale, right? I mean, John Harbaugh could have built up such gravitas within that organization that he might have been the guy upstairs. Like, I'm not in that building every day. I don't know. But he might have been hands off, let the assistant coaches run things. And some of the drama that Marlon Humphrey talked about that festered last year might have festered because at that point in John Harbaugh's career, he had kind of taken himself out of that day-to-day disciplinarian role. But it can also be true that the Giants have had no direction whatsoever for a decade, dating back to before Ben McAdoo, right? It can also be true that this organization needs a disciplinarian and a change of face, a change of attitude, a change of culture. And John Harbaugh, after leaving Baltimore, is kind of starting over. And when you're starting over, you're trying to build things your way and do it your way. So he might become the coach that he was 10 years ago in Baltimore in terms of how he deals with the players, how the players respond to him. Heck, he walks in January and they're ripping up the practice facility to upgrade the locker rooms and upgrade the training facilities because he believes that's what they needed. So his fingerprints are already on the physical building. They're certainly going to be on the culture of the Giants. So in Baltimore, I think that there is a lot of excitement about the fact that Jesse Minter is like 41, 42 years old, whatever it is, a younger head coach. He's running position group meetings with the secondary in a way that Marlon Humphrey said at the podium that John Harbaugh never used to do. He'd sit in meetings. He'd never run a position group meeting. And in New York, you're getting the track record of John Harbaugh and the coach that you know that he is. I just think sometimes when you're in a situation for a long time, the message gets stale. Players start to tune it out. I think that's what happened a little bit with the Ravens.
I don't disagree with that, Matt, but I'll end it with this, all right? And what I'm going to end it with is the Giants haven't seen this much discipline in a camp in about since Tom Coughlin left the organization. All right. So I don't want to hear this nonsense about Harbaugh lost his edge, baby. He's not disciplined. The Giants are reinvigorated by the discipline. Let's keep it coming. I don't think Harbaugh ever lost his discipline. I don't think it's going to be better in Baltimore. I'm going on the record now. Things will get worse for this team before they get better. All right. Talk to us about what you did see at Ravens camp. Never mind my rants and raves. What about that Zay Flowers injury? And what else did you see while you were visiting the Ravens?
Yeah, Zay's apparently back on the practice field, so it was a quad contusion. Scary moment, though. 1-on-1, 7-on-7 drill going over the middle. banged knees with one of the safeties there going over the middle of the field. And he got worked on for a few minutes. But fortunately for the Ravens, after all that terrible injury luck a year ago, just in the past 48 hours, they've had Zay Flowers get back on the field after that quad contusion. And Nate Wiggins, Pro Bowl cornerback, had a non-contact injury yesterday. Tests revealed that he's day-to-day. They avoided the worst-case scenario. But as far as what the Ravens look like, a name to watch in the preseason is Ja'Cory Lane, the third-round rookie, pass catcher, just big-bodied wide receiver, made some really acrobatic catches, a one-handed catch going behind his body along the sideline, and then having the body control to get both feet and down right in front of me in practice on Saturday. Just talking to people in that building, he's making those circus catches look ordinary. It's kind of like, hey, we're going to throw it to Corey. He's going to go get it. That's what he has done throughout training camp. And Jesse Minter said at the podium, him and Lamar Jackson have talked about this. Throw it to him early, throw it to him often. Just keep throwing him the football, whether he's wide open, whether he's in blanket coverage. We want to get him up to speed, and they're doing that. And when you talk about the Ravens, they've always been that ground and pound. We're going to bludgeon you with Derrick Henry. Lamar Jackson's going to throw for 250, run for 75 and a touchdown. They've never really had that number two complementary wide receiver. And Lane is really developing into that, I think, as a rookie. He's someone they're really excited about in that building. I think as far as issues to watch for them, is the offensive line going to be better than it was a year ago? How do they absorb losing Tyler Linderbaum, an all-pro center, to the Las Vegas Raiders in free agency? They drafted Vega Iona out of Penn State in the first round. He's had a solid camp. Everybody I talked to is really impressed by the two guards. So the theory is better guard play is going to mask whatever growing pains there are at center. And defensively, look, you have Trey Hendrickson. Kobe Matabuke is working his way back, but he's going to come back. He's healthy enough to get on the field. You have Kyler Murray, Hamilton in the secondary. You have Nate Wiggins in the secondary. Chidobe Awuzie is a guy they think still has upside. So there are pieces on defense. I look at the Ravens, and if they stay healthy, which they didn't do a year ago, I really think they're one of those teams that's flying just underneath the radar that can make a really deep run in the AFC.
So, Matt, we have it linked down in the description below. You're, of course, NFL Insider Matt Lombardo here on the Manchild Show with Boy Green Digital. And like the video wherever you guys are at. And also hit that subscribe button. But, Matt, the secret sauce that is beneath your name of betweenthehashmarks.com, the direct link in the YouTube description, is your access, your contacts that you've built up over a long career that has many more years left to continue. And also these trips you're making, knock on wood, thank you, and to these NFL franchises. What do you get out of going to these camps? You've mentioned you've gone to the Ravens, the Steelers, you're going to be going to the Giants. What do you get out of these when you're going to these, when you schedule them and you're going to go? What are you trying to get out of these? And what can you get out of these that, again, the common person who's at home doesn't? Because I think that's one of the secret sauces of Between the Hash Marks and why it's such a valuable resource and why people should subscribe. Can you describe what that is and sort of that insider access you're able to provide?
Yeah, I think it's kind of twofold. One, it goes back to why I try to go to the Senior Bowl every year. I just want to get eyes on these guys in practice. I want to see whether it's in Mobile, I want to see the running back who nobody's talking about, or the defensive end who blows up a play early on, and he's the guy that people are going to be talking about during the pre-draft process. I feel so much more prepared going into a draft, having been to Senior Bowl, seen a few practices. Same thing for the regular season. Jeremy Bernard is just somebody who I watched at Alabama have a couple of big games and a couple of big catches, but I go out to Latrobe and I can see that he's finding a way to get open in the soft spot of zones, deep downfield. I can see that whether it's Drew Aller or Mason Rudolph or Will Howard, that he's building confidence with the quarterbacks and that he's even taken first team reps. I can see, the physicality of a Ravens training camp and what they're trying to do along their offensive line that I'm not going to see just by, reading other people's reporting, other people's writing. That, at least from my perspective, I like to have eyes on what's actually happening out there. But number two, and sometimes more valuable, is it's reconnecting with people in the building. I covered the Giants on a daily basis for 3 or 4 years for NJ.com and then another outlet after that. You build up contacts with people in the front office and even the PR department. It's nice to have that FaceTime there. Sometimes you'll get some tidbits, some nuggets, and they'll tell you who's been standing out or who the coaches really like, or you talk to a coach who you've covered in the past, and they'll give you the real insight on a player who people are talking about, or maybe they'll say, hey, watch that undrafted free agent. He's having a really nice camp. He's doing this really well. I don't pick those things up sitting at my desk. I can fire off a text message and talk to an agent or talk to a scout, but I think that face-to-face interaction builds the relationship, which then in turn, it allows me to create the kind of content that gives readers a peek behind the curtain of what's happening in the NFL, which is what I try to provide to my audience.
Give us a quick peek behind the curtain on Jesse Minter as head coach now of Baltimore. What kind of coach do you expect him to be? What did you see while you were down there?
Because clearly Manchild doesn't think anything of him. So
I don't. Yeah. No, I don't. These OCs and DCs that become head coaches and they get their swing, let's not crown them before they don't even win a game. I'm just hearing too much, we're going to the Super Bowl stuff now that Harbaugh's out of here stuff, and I'm just defending my coach. That's all I'm doing, because that guy was a great coach. I wanted him when he was in Baltimore. I wanted him when he was supposedly washed up in Baltimore. I wanted him when no one was listening to him anymore in Baltimore. Okay? So now I got him, and now we're going to find out what he can do in New York. Go ahead, Matt. I'm sorry.
This is like personal for you or something. Like,
it is personal. Absolutely.
Andy Reid in Philadelphia was there for 15 years and went to 4 NFC Championship games and a Super Bowl, but they regressed towards the end. They regressed towards the end, right? There were a couple of 3-13 seasons,
and who was
500 season or two.
What's wrong about that one, huh?
I don't think anybody was wrong, because Andy Reid goes on and wins 3 Super Bowls in Kansas City with Patrick Mahomes, and the Eagles hire Doug Peterson after the Chip Kelly era goes bust, and they get a Super Bowl of their own. Sometimes coaches just get stale in the environments that they're in, right?
Yeah. I'm just 3-1. I'm just counting on my fingers. It's okay.
Well, sure, but I mean, they also went on. They have 2. I mean, Sirianni won 1. They've been to what 3 Super Bowls. They've won 2 of them, right? And since Andy Reid's been there. But listen, I'm just saying that in terms of coaches with the players in that locker room, coaches in terms of with the relationships with the front office and the general managers, sometimes those relationships get frayed. It's not that John Harbaugh was a bad coach. It's that John Harbaugh's situation in Baltimore got stale, right? And now John Harbaugh gets to go into a new situation. I look at James Franklin, right? A guy that I know really well and was at Penn State for 12 years. Got them to the doorstep, got them to a game away from an interception away against Notre Dame from playing for the national championship. It gets fired midway through last season. He goes to Virginia Tech, and you're hearing about how now, based on what he learned at Penn State towards the end, they've shortened their practices. They've gotten more judicious about what they do in each practice period. They've certainly adjusted some of the messaging with the players. I don't think that James goes through that growth if it's year 14 in Happy Valley, where fans are booing him and calling for his firing, as much as you do in Blacksburg, where people love you. And I think bringing it back to Harbaugh, it got kind of dicey towards the end there with the fans in Baltimore, right? I think that everybody was ready to move on. You go to New York, now you're king of East Rutherford, right? You get to bring the wrecking ball in and rebuild the facility in your image. Like, he's the guy now. It's just a matter of situations get stale, not that coaches forget how to coach. That's just my read of the situation.
I get it, Matt. And I guess a final word on this, and I want to get off it. I want to talk about the Steeler camp and other things we got to talk about. But I just think that whole term stale, okay, it's contrived, okay? Let's take it into the business world. You have a CEO who's been really productive running a company, and for years and years of profitability, and he takes care of his employees, and he's loyal to his people, and he rewards people when they do good things, and blah blah blah. And now all of a sudden, things are still going up, but they're just not going enough up. Oh wait, maybe the message is getting lost here. I think good coaches are good coaches, and I think when we throw them out the door, oftentimes we throw them out the door way too soon. And Andy Reid's a really good example of it. I know he's the extreme example. He gets a once in a lifetime quarterback. I understand everything that Reid walked into, but he also bears a lot of responsibility for building a powerhouse in Kansas City. So the narrative out there, and I guess the reason I'm on this soapbox today is because I'm reading a lot of stuff where the narrative is out there about John Harbaugh being gone from Baltimore is a good thing. And I don't think it will be, Matt. That's just my opinion, and time is going to tell. I might be dead wrong, and I might be eating my LeBron James all over again, but I just don't see it that way. You had a guy who had 18 years head coaching experience and was still kicking butt, man, was still winning every year. All right, same thing with Tom.
Yeah, but how many playoff wins over the past 4 years?
All the guy ever did is win in Pittsburgh, for crying out loud. I'll take one of those 2 guys any day. I was lobbying for both of them to come to my chat. We'll take your leftovers. Thank you very much. Good luck with Jesse Minter. Good luck with Mike McCarthy. I'm sure it's going to be a picnic.
Yeah, but you didn't answer the question Matt Lombardo just had. How many playoff wins has Harbaugh had in the last 4 years?
Again, I know, I understand that, and there are reasons to look at, things.
And,
But
and
I would
how
also
many playoff
say,
and how many playoff wins did Andy Reid have in his last 3 years in Philadelphia? Right. I mean, he was barely a 500 coach towards the end there. I'm just saying that it's not all in a vacuum. It's not, oh, Andy Reid is a great coach, therefore the Eagles are going to be great, or John Harbaugh is a great coach, therefore the Ravens are going to be great. You have to have buy-in from the locker room, right? Like, we've all worked in places where the boss gets grating and gets stale, right?
Yes.
Like you start to kind of tune him out. You start to kind of mock him a little bit.
Yeah.
And then the new boss comes in, and next thing you know, you're invigorated and you're excited and you have new challenges. That's what's at play here. And I think it's going to play out that way in Baltimore and in the Giants. I think it's two different trajectories, right? I think in New York.
When did he win that Super Bowl, Lurch? 2012. That was 14 years ago, man. Let's go.
A lot has to do with time, place, circumstance, and frankly, I think his quarterback has not gotten the job done in the playoffs. So if you want to look at lack of performance,
who is his coach? Harbaugh.
I get it, but you need the players to
You're
do.
blaming the quarterback. Come on,
I'm not blaming the quarterback.
Okay, let me bring up this.
There are numerous circumstances why they didn't win playoff games down.
Okay,
he's
let me bring up one.
Okay, he bears a certain amount of responsibility. He does not bear all of the responsibility.
Okay, here's just a random one. Okay, when the Ravens-Chiefs game, it was in Baltimore, winner to the Super Bowl. Derrick Henry had 3 carries in the game, and they lost by a touchdown. Who made that call? Was it Todd Monken? Are we going to throw him under the bus? Oh, wait. Who is his head coach? Who is the overseer, which is supposedly his superpower? He was a special teams guy. He's supposed to oversee the entire operation. If Derrick Henry's not getting enough carries, guess who has the power to come over to Monken? Hey, buddy, let's get some Derrick Henry run in here. Listen, he didn't. That was his chance to go back to another Super Bowl and win one, which, by the way, he hasn't done in 14 years.
I'm very clear that change needed to be made there. I'm not denying that. They felt that way in Baltimore. I'm just saying the grass isn't always greener. So let's find out.
It's also the honeymoon period too, right? I mean, you talked to Justice Hill at the podium afterwards, and I asked him point blank, after hearing Marlon Humphrey expose the virtues of this new culture, like, what's the biggest change about the vibes in this building right now? And he came out and said, I'd rather wait to see until the live bullets start flying, until we start playing a team that's wearing a different helmet, different uniform. And I get that. So everybody's going to be saying and feeling all of the right things. But when you have multiple players telling you that the drama doesn't fester, they're more hands-on, that the vibe in the building isn't so much of like competing against each other, but building towards something, that's a philosophical difference that maybe the players in that building, there's some pretty damn good players. They're all pros littered across that roster on both sides of the ball, that sometimes you just need that new philosophy, that new vision, that new change. We'll see how it takes root in the regular season when it matters.
So I know nothing about Jesse Minter, so I'm not, as a head coach.
Seems like I know a lot. But Matt, let's give Manchild an opportunity right now to put his money where his mouth is. Lurch, would you predict that the Ravens are going to miss the playoffs this year?
No, I would not.
Well, you were almost of course, like it was almost like, of course they're making the playoff.
I'm just saying the grass isn't always greener. That's all I'm saying.
What does that mean? If Minter gets them to the, so you think that I'm not going to
miss the
playoffs
last year, by the way, because of a damn kicker and some holy water. Let's not forget about that.
Which is fine, but so you said you think they're going to make the playoffs. Okay, they make the playoffs, so that means Minter.
You said, are they not going to make the playoffs? I said I wouldn't bet. I wouldn't bet against them making the playoffs.
Okay, you wouldn't bet against it. Okay, fine.
A lot of it has to do with time, place, and circumstance. What's going on in that division, in that league, too, Paul.
Okay,
it's not just about the Ravens. But go ahead.
If you're making betting odds, you would say it's more likely than not the Ravens make the playoffs. Yeah.
Say that again.
I would say yes.
Yeah, I would also say yes.
The odds are the Ravens make the postseason versus that they don't.
Right now.
I would lean yes. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So I just wanted to establish that as a baseline before I went any further. So that means he's already done what Harbaugh's done the last couple of years outside of last year of just getting there. And then Harbaugh's only won one playoff game, insert the last bunch of years at a maximum in terms of playoff wins on a per year basis. So all Minter has to do to equate to what Harbaugh's done is make the playoffs, which you think is more likely than not to do.
Harbaugh left
to win his
great
one
roster.
game.
So yes, of course they should make the playoffs. They have a two-time MVP as their quarterback. They should
Who
make
you
the
just
playoffs.
trashed.
Derrick Henry
Quarterback's
is
fault
running
that they
back.
didn't-
They should make the playoffs for all of those reasons. What's the laugh? What is so funny about it? He's handed them a good roster. I'm saying they should make the playoffs. As a matter of fact, it'll be an abject failure if they don't make the playoffs this year with all of those players. There you go. You want the other side of it? There you go.
You just made fun of that quarterback. Now you're saying, wow, he's a two-time MVP. Now you're championing his resume. But a few minutes ago you were saying a choke artist. I don't know, man.
I don't like the way the guy's performed in the playoffs. I don't think he's performed well in the playoffs, period, as a quarterback. 2 MVPs, and he can't get him to the promised land.
Neither is Harbaugh, by the way.
He needs to coach to get him to the promised land. That's what he needs. The MVP needs to coach on the field to get him to the playoffs.
Is that what you're saying that the Giants need is the coach to get them to the playoffs and take them beyond? That's what you're saying in the reverse situation for your Giants.
Okay. We're going to see. Time will tell. All right. Let's move on. All right, Matt, let's talk about Steelers because it is intriguing to me. I must admit, when the Steelers hired Mike McCarthy, I was just like a big yawn. I mean, I was like, come on, really? Seriously? And you expecting that the Rodgers McCarthy thing, this is going to be like lightning in the bottle at 42 years old. This is, oh boy, push the sun back up into the sky. Here come the Steelers again. But I have to say, Matt, I've done a lot of reading on what's going on in the Steel City. And there've been some really terrific pieces written on the background story of Mike McCarthy and his Pittsburgh lineage. He's a Pittsburgher. That's where he grew up. And I must admit, I'm kind of in love with it. I find myself in the odd position of seriously rooting for a coach who I didn't put a lot of stock in having success this time around based on the roster he's been handed and the circumstances in Pittsburgh. But I'm really rooting for Mike McCarthy. I don't know why. I think it's the backstory. I think it's the fact that the Cowboys let him go. It's probably a little bit of both of that. There's definitely some personal feelings in there. But give me your thoughts. Mike McCarthy in Pittsburgh, what'd you see up there in Latrobe?
Yeah, homeboy coming back, trying to win one for his squad, right? I mean, that's kind of the hometown and local hero angle for Mike McCarthy. I'm still pretty skeptical of that situation. I don't know that he ever really learned the first time when he was let go and looking for a job after Green Bay before Dallas. I don't know that he ever modernized in terms of his play calling and embracing analytics as much as he claimed that he had during that time off. I'm extremely skeptical of Aaron Rodgers at 42 years old. I don't know that stretching the field with DK Metcalf and Michael Pittman Jr. and now Jeremy Bernard with that field stretching ability, I don't know how much that meshes with Aaron Rodgers' skill set. But hey, if it happens and if the defense rises to the moment and if they embrace the running game and they do what they need to do and they play balanced Pittsburgh Steelers football, yeah, I could see it happening. I'm not as bullish on Pittsburgh going into this season as maybe I am the outlook a couple years down the line if Drew Aller can develop the way that he's had a very strong training camp, the way that maybe some of those young players on defense take a step. But they're kind of, with the way they've acted over this offseason and adding veterans to that defensive side of the ball, they're acting like they're all in trying to make it happen this year. We'll see how it plays out.
So do you believe it's Groundhog's Day? That Mike Tomlin for 1,000 years, 9-8, 10-7, 9-8, 10-7, and then losing the playoffs. Oh, now let's switch around some of the characters. Oh, all right, Mike Tomlin out. All right, let's get actor number 2 in. Mike McCarthy, he's now in. Is it the same result? They're somewhat mediocre. They make the playoffs and then they just lose in the first round again?
Kind of, right? I mean, they've yet to hit the reset button on the quarterback, and to me,
sure.
that's what this is all about. That if they would have just embraced, which they never will, because ownership will not embrace a tear down and a rebuild. But I think they'd be far better off if they have traded somebody like T.J. Watt a year or two ago for a bunch of draft picks, gotten the quarterback, rebuilt, tried to have a foundation you can build on for 5 to 10 years, instead of spinning your wheels, throwing yourself out there as a 500-plus team, borderline playoff team with an Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, or if you get in, you give yourself a chance. Didn't have much of a chance last year against the Texans in that pass rush.
Yeah, funny thing, too, and I'll say the same thing I said about Harbaugh. I'll say the same thing about Tomlin. Look, the message probably did get stale. It probably was time for a change. I mean, he's the one that stepped away anyway, but I still think the guy's a great coach. I think he's a great coach, and I'd take him in a minute. And he has a lousy playoff record too, BG, other than what he did back with Roethlisberger since then. I mean, it's putrid. Pittsburgh has been putrid. in the playoffs, but I take them any day and twice on Sunday, man. I just think good coaches are good coaches. Just quickly on Rodgers and McCarthy, I was really worried on top of it all. Like, oh, wait a minute, this was an ugly falling out with these guys in Green Bay, and now that's the coach that's coming back, and it's a homecoming, and we're supposed to all get warm and fuzzy and hug our teddy bears. But actually, it sounds like they've buried the hatchet, and that McCarthy and Rodgers are getting along really, really well. Is that just smoke and mirrors, Matt, or is that true?
Sort of. And then you see the quote that comes out today about Aaron Rodgers talking about how there's no real reason to play in the preseason games, right? Like, it seems like there's already kind of butting heads in terms of that philosophy of how to handle the preseason. Look, Aaron Rodgers is a walking drama factory. There's going to be storylines that come out from him every single week that they're going to have to navigate and try to prevent from becoming distractions. But I'm very skeptical, as it sounds like you are, of this marriage between Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers becoming anything close to what it was in its heyday.
Agreed. And last one for me, because again, actually, Matt, Manchild's birthday is in 10 days. It's on August 22nd.
Oh,
and it's funny. There's some things in life that may be true, but certain people refuse to believe it. Like Kyrie Irving, he still believes it's flat Earth. If we get a little too deep in a certain ocean, we're just going to fall. We're going to fall over. So apparently we've learned during this conversation, it's always good to learn something. Lurch doesn't believe in the word stale. So let's go to a local grocery store.
I think it's overused.
Buy 5 bags of chips and just open them up and just sort of leave them out. And then we're going to reseal them, bring them to Lurch's house. And then hey, Lurch, do you want to try these brand new chips we got you? And he's going to eat them. And I just want to watch his face as he eats them because he doesn't believe in the word stale. So they should just be perfectly as crisp as any other bag of chips because you're about to be visiting Giants training camp. And I'm curious, I don't know what Harbaugh is. Is that a crisp bag of chips or is that one that's been opened and then we're calling it fresh and just resealing it? Like this gift, apparently, we're going to get Manchild. So what are you looking forward to at Giants training camp, Matt?
Yeah, I'm excited to see because you hear all these reports coming out of the Greenbrier and now that they're back in East Rutherford of how physical these practices are, right? That it's, up tempo the entire time, lots of hitting, lots of contact in pads. I want to see how all that hitting is resulting in the culture that it's building. Like, how competitive are these guys? How up in each other's faces are the outside linebackers with the offensive tackles between the whistles? How fiery is this becoming in East Rutherford? I want to see Jackson Dart. I want to see who's emerging, whether it's Odell Beckham Jr. or Juju Smith-Schuster or Darius Slayton having a big camp. Whoever it is, who's that number 2 receiver? How's the chemistry coming and building with Malik Neighbors as he continues to work his way back? And let's be honest here, guys, I want to see the pass rush. I want to see how the rotation is stacking up with Arvell Reese now, with Abdul Carter, with Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau. This is probably his August showcase for where he's going to be playing in September, as a potential trade target, possibly. I want to see how that pass rush is starting to come together, how disruptive it is in the backfield when the offense is trying to get work, and how the rotation is stacking up, who's out on the field when.
Yeah, man, and keep your eye on that receiver thing. I mean, a lot of the stuff I've been reading out of Giants camp is that Mooney is contending potentially for that number 2 spot with Slayton. I don't know, Slayton, the Giants paid him. He's been fine, but he's never been a guy that I've gotten excited about as a Giants fan. So, I don't know. I'd rather have someone else as a number 2 if I felt they were a better player and, have Slayton be a guy more coming off the bench a little bit or playing in certain situations rather than being out there lining up as a number 2 all the time. It's just my perspective as a Giants fan. I think there are a lot of Giant fans that would agree with me, but we all have our favorites, I suppose. And I don't know about OBJ. And well, Juju hasn't even been playing. He's got a bad knee. So hopefully by the time you get down there, Matt, he'll be back on that bum knee. But Harbaugh said in a press conference the other day, he was talking about some of these injured guys. And he goes, yeah, he's got an old knee. So what do you, so we got to be careful with that old knee. I was like, oh gosh, what a terrible way to describe a guy, trying to make a roster. He's got an old knee. So we got to kind of baby him a little bit because he's got an old knee. Talking about Juju. That was crazy.
Yeah.
All right, Matt Lombardo. Well, as always, my friend, we'll just end it on that note.
Give us a plug. Matt, give us a plug.
Yeah, give us a plug. Obviously, you headed to Giants camp, but also talk about what's going on with between the hash marks.
Yeah, so we're in the middle of the training camp tour. We've been up to Baltimore. We've been out to Pittsburgh. We'll be in East Rutherford tomorrow. All of the postcards are there from the sites we've been at. There'll be one that goes up right after practice tomorrow in East Rutherford. If you're an NFL fan, great time to jump in and upgrade and become a paying subscriber to BetweenTheHashmarks.com through Friday. 40% off for you, and we're donating 50% of the proceeds to help fight hunger in America. We're going 25% to No Kid Hungry, 25% of the proceeds get donated to Hunger Free America. School's starting back up. You have 1.5 million kids who lost access to SNAP benefits last fall. We're going to help put food on the table for families and give kids in school access to nutritious lunches they might not have been able to afford or had access to because there's school district funding constraints and all those things. So 40% off for you, 50% to fight hunger in America. Check us out at BetweenTheHashmarks.com. Season's starting up. Get in now. We got a great content plan. Excited for you to see it.
All right, Matt. Thanks. Always doing good for the people, my friend. All right.
Appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me.
We'll get more adversarial next time. All right. I can't wait. Right. That's it, man. I'm standing by my laurels. Laugh as you want. Laugh as you want. I am getting more serious. All right. Thank you, Matt Lombardo.
Thanks, Matt.
Good to see you, my friend. All right. We are presented today by Northeast Roofing Professionals. Today's video brought to you by our friends at Box Drop. Let's take a moment, say hello to our sponsors, and then we're back. Me and Boy Green will pick it up. Comments, welcome. Get into comments right now. Subscribers, welcome. We're trying to make our march to 1,000. We need every one of you who's not a subscriber to click that subscribe button. It's absolutely free. So please do that for us. Also hit the thumbs up, the like button to help get the video out to more and more people so that we can increase our subscribership and our reach. So we need your help, every single one of you, even if you are already a subscriber. We'll talk a little bit about our monthly raffle, which is only 10 days away. Numerous prizes. I have them all beside me here. We'll show them again, get you ready for that. Super chats, super stickers, memberships, gifting memberships, all ways to get raffle tickets. We'll discuss when we return. All right, this word, and then we're back. Stick around.
Considering that we sleep nearly 1/3 of our lives, buying the right mattress is essential. At Box Drop Syracuse Mattress and Sofa Outlet, you'll get a unique experience, one that saves you 30 to 70% off retail prices on top-of-the-line mattresses like Sapphire Sleep. At Box Drop, you'll schedule a mattress fitting appointment and get one-on-one service directly with Paul, the owner. No middleman. Family-owned, huge savings, no-pressure sales designed to save you time and money. And now Box Drop Syracuse has sectional sofas and love seats as well, with prices designed to fit your budget. Box Drop Syracuse Mattress and Sofas. Set up your appointment today at boxdropsyracuse.com.
Finding the right local roofing company can be tricky. You don't want to hire the wrong roofers, or you could end up spending a fortune on repairs. The pros at Northeast Roofing Professionals can ensure your home is protected by a strong and sturdy roof. Locally owned and operated, over 30 years experience, free estimates, and competitively priced. Don't settle for an inexperienced roofing contractor. Turn to Northeast Roofing Professionals. Discounts for military and first responders. Reach out and let them put a sturdy roof over your head. NERPCNY.com. NERPCNY.com.
All right, we're back. Manchild Show with Boy Green Digital at MC Show Digital, talking all things New York football. Good little session there with Matt Lombardo, our NFL insider, as he's been doing his little training camp sojourn, I call it, just journeying from camp to camp. East tour. A better word for that. And checking out what's going on in camp. Some interesting battles in some of these places. And we do this year really have a lot of changes in the NFL, Boy Green. Just as I'm starting to prep for fantasy football as we get ready for our fantasy football drafts in the upcoming weeks, I'm like, oh my God, this guy's over here, this guy's over there. Wow, who's the running back here? Wait a minute, what happened to that receiver? Oh, he's over there. It's wild. So it takes a little time sometimes. I find fantasy to be a really good recipe to help kind of get you up to speed before the season starts with where everybody is. It's hard enough to follow your own hometown teams, right? I don't have time just following the Giants and knowing everything that's going on with them. Now I got to know what's going on with the Steelers, the Texans, the Broncos. Pick your team. I mean, it's just crazy how much information is out there and how much change now happens during the offseason in these NFL organizations. It didn't used to be this way. I mean, free agency has opened up a whole can of worms. Trades rampant in the NFL these days, which was always, man, you rarely heard of a trade. I mean, you rarely heard of all the free agency changes that are going on. So, it's a mad world. I don't know, BG. After that whole spirited discussion where you're trying to corner me, all right, I get you guys trying to corner
you.
Yes,
Oh,
corner me.
boy. Playing victim? Okay.
I'm going to think about this, but I'm close to placing a bet with you All right, if
With
you'll
me.
have it.
Okay.
Yeah,
all
or
right.
Matt can get in on it too, since he's Mr. Gigglebox over there. I'll bring him into this bet as he wants as well.
All right.
And here will be my proposed bet.
Oh
okay?
my
You're gonna
goodness.
have to give me some
Don't.
kind of odds here. You're gonna have to
I
give me
swear
some
to
kind of odds, I
gosh,
think.
if you say what I think you're going to say,
I think I am gonna
please
say what you
don't.
say.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I
okay.
am.
Please.
I think I'm
Go
gonna say
ahead.
what you don't want. And
Okay.
I think what I'm considering betting you guys.
Oh,
Okay,
my
but I'm gonna have
God.
to get some odds here. All right, because let's face it, all three of us believe the Ravens will make the playoffs. Okay, all three of us said it, and I didn't say that in
If-
jest,
Okay.
to make the bet more hearty. I wasn't thinking about this bet until we got out to break, and I was like, you know what? I might be willing to put my money where my mouth is. Okay, and here's where my money where my mouth is: that the Giants make the playoffs and the Ravens don't this season. I might want to place a bet against you and Matt on that very thing, and I know the odds are against me clearly, but I don't find it so far fetched. I really don't. And
Let me get in on that.
Matt wants in on it, baby.
Hell yeah. I will text Matt Lombardo right now.
Yeah, like I said, you guys are gonna have to give me some kind of odds, but I'm
Wait,
seriously
we have to
considering it.
no. If you're
Yes,
as
you have to give
confident
me
as you
odds.
believe in, I'm not giving you any
No.
scratch.
You have to give me odds.
Here,
You have to
I'm
give me
gonna
odds.
here's why I'm not. Let's go to this perfect example of a
Hmm.
bet in your past. The
No.
Washington Commanders
I remember
played the
this.
Detroit Lions in the playoffs. The Lions were at home. The
Mhm.
Lions, by anyone's count, was the clear and obvious favorite. And the Lions were a significant spread favorite in that game. And I believe you and our Hall of Famer in the comments section, I think you guys made it straight up and wiped away the spread, if I remember correctly.
We did.
And the
Yep, we did.
Commanders,
Yes.
by the way,
actually,
if
no.
that happened,
Jamie gave. I think Jamie did give me the points. I think he gave me the points.
well, not
think he
gave
did.
you the points. You would have given him the points.
Right. Who did I have again? I can't remember the bet anymore.
You
It was so
picked the Lions, the favorite. He picked the
Oh, yes.
terrible
Yes.
Washington.
we
team.
wiped the
So
points,
you would have
correct.
given him points, not the other way around.
I told him the
if
only
that
way I would
happened.
do it, I was trying to put his feet to the fire, since he was being so passionate
Yeah.
about it. I said, all right, the only way I'm going to do it is, no points. And he was like, fine. And I was like, what? You
And
crazy?
that's what.
All
So
right,
yeah,
I'll
this
take
is
that.
my entire point. That so you were at an inherent advantage making this bet. The Lions were the clear and obvious favorite to crush Washington. Let alone they had like a 10-point spread or something on the game. And he said, "Wipe that away, and we'll do it." And he's like, "Okay," because Jamie's a crazy lunatic, and he took that god awful bet. And
Yeah.
then Washington, of course, upset them, and that set off a wild thing. So again, you forced poor Jamie. If we're going to play victim game here, poor Jamie gets into this bet where he's clearly a dog, and somehow, Hail Marys happen, a broken clock strike twice a day.
of course.
Somehow he wins that bet. So now
does.
we go to this where you say, oh, well, I'm sort of going out on a limb here. Are you? You just had this somebody else. Why don't you play it the same way you did for Jamie and call it straight up? If you believe Jesse Minter's this fraud and Harbaugh's going to revitalize everything, then this should be a straight up bet. Giants make the playoffs, Ravens don't, if that's what you believe.
Well, okay. Here's the thing that I'm not liking about this potential bet, and that is that I got to pay two guys off. You're just paying one guy off, and meanwhile, I'm the one who has the team that's less likely to do what we think it will do based on where things stand at the moment.
You're the one who's picking multiple Pearson. Maybe we should get Matt involved. That's you, not me. I didn't say anything about Matt. Come on, man.
All right, maybe we'll just have a straight up bet. Forget about Matt.
Want to make it right now? I will make it right now. You say
we got to figure out what the bet's going to be. I don't want to just throw the bet together. So I don't want it to be money. It'll
just
we'll
be
make something else.
It's both, right? I say the Ravens make the playoffs and the Giants don't, and you say the opposite, and that's the bet.
And then we have to have a contingency of what if neither of them makes the playoff.
Well, then I guess it's just washed. I don't think there's any third
just gotta
alternative.
determine the parameters on
It's
that.
wiped from the board.
Yes.
I would assume is the easiest way to do that.
Fair enough.
So that's the bet.
I think I'm ready to go down that primrose path. So
Okay,
we'll make a
what's
bet
the
on
bet?
that. I don't know. We got to figure out what the bet is, but I don't know
So
if I
not
wanna-
live on air. You want to do this?
Well, we can do it live on it. Maybe in our next show we can lay the bet down. But I want to think
Okay.
about what the bet could be. Something fun.
Okay,
something-
marinate. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I like to come up. You know me. I like to come up with clever things for the bet.
Sure.
By the
I
way,
like
for
clever
bets that we
things.
do, especially for bets that we do on the air. But this was coming up earlier. So speaking of bets, I just saw it here in the comments. And sorry, I gotta work my way through the comments here. Okay, so Jamie says here, talking of bets, Boy Green, your Cowboys win their division with a 10-7 record. Take that bet. If you lose, you chop off your beard. So wait a minute, I'm confused here. So
why
Jamie,
why the Cowboys for me? I'm confused.
I know you already liked it. Jamie, you got to clarify what the heck you're saying, because earlier, right before that, he puts up this comment, and he's been putting this comment up at the beginning of every chat for the last 2 weeks. Cowboys, Bills, Super Bowls. He keeps throwing.
So he's just covering his butt if no matter whether happens, he wins.
Yeah, whatever. He's just trying to annoy me with Cowboys being in the Super Bowl.
I guess.
So he keeps saying Cowboys, Bills, Super Bowl. He's been saying that for weeks. I don't know if he really means it. And now he's offering a bet here, but I'm not sure. Is he saying you take the Cowboys to win in the 10-7?
I assume so. That's what he's saying. Yeah,
that's what it seems to me. I mean, but
it doesn't make any sense with his other thing he said. But no. First off, I learned my valuable lesson. My fiance is within hearing distance of this podcast. It's going on live right now.
Okay.
I made a bet with your old buddy Alon. And I was in the moment, and he caught me with my pants down. I'm live on a show, and I just believe in my team. I have optimism, eternal optimism that every year they can do it. And things were not going well last season. They were not. I can confirm. And the Jets, speaking of these bets where someone's at a disadvantage, the Jets had back-to-back road games against the Baltimore Ravens and the New England Patriots. Alon says if the Jets win both of those games, I win some fabulous cash prize, which again, the Jets were 2-12 or something, some awful record. And clearly, of course, going into the Lions' den of both of those teams, for both teams that were really good, the Patriots were really good and the Ravens were at least the Ravens. And I took that bet because I'm an idiot. And live on the show, he's like, oh, you put your money where your mouth is. Oh, look, fans, big fraud, optimistic guy. And I'm like, all right, fine. I'll take your stupid bet. And I did it. I had to shave off my beard, and we were able to raise money anyway because I did it for something. Right. And we did it. So that's great. But no. So that was a stupid bet I made, not just because I believed in my team, but randomly in the middle of the season for that silly bet. So no, again, my father's a Dallas Cowboys fan. He wishes I was a Cowboys fan. He wishes I was Boy Blue. He wishes you would have given me that nickname. And I'm doing daily Cowboys content. He would be to the pearly gates of heaven if that happened. I didn't. Pops. So I didn't do that. So no. So to do some beard bet. And here's the other thing, Jamie. I hope my father covers his ears here. I want the Cowboys to lose. We have their first round pick. I don't want to bet them to win. I want to bet them to lose. They stink. That's good for me. I've got their pick. Why would I bet? Hey, if they win, I keep my beard. No, I want them to lose. So no, absolutely not. I reject your bet. Your bet's stupid. No, I refuse your bet. No. Now, Ravens, Giants. Okay, now you might got me. You might get me on that one.
On my end, I mean, just thinking a little bit about what I might want to bet you. The bet that probably what I'm going to do to you is make you wear Giants apparel for a couple of days or something on your Jet show every day. So then you'll have to explain that to people every morning that I'm wearing this Eli jersey and this Giants cap. Why? Because I lost this bet to Manchild, who said at the beginning of the year the Giants would make the playoffs and the Ravens would. That's probably the punishment that I would want for you. That'd be painful, but it's not money out of your pocket or anything. It's just a little bit.
That's true, especially in the middle of the move and everything we're doing. But it would be embarrassing because I do a show every day and most of the time, multiple times a day. So
I want it on the Jet show. I don't want it on this show. You can do it on this show too, but I want it on the Jet show.
Okay. Yeah, that's the worst.
Expecting you to be wearing green.
And people asking, who is this? Boy green, boy blue. And I'd be getting all those jokes again. So yeah, okay. All right. Well, that makes sense. All right. I'll have to think of something else.
So think of something on my end. Other side. We'll an agreement.
Well, because I got screwed on that one dinner bet with Jamie. I was clearly the mediator of the middle. I should have gotten some part of that action. So that's the one that I remember getting screwed on. So maybe that's what I just love food. So anytime to get food in there, that's always a good time. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Finally did pay that thing off. Thank God.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, I did. I always pay off my bets. Even if it takes me a while.
You're a Lannister. That's good to know.
I try to pay them off right away, in all honesty. But,
okay.
It was
so I guess just tell us real quick because it's going to get lost in the sauce. So what's up with this Manchild jersey yet?
Yeah, the Manchild jersey. So
what happened?
A little over a week ago, a weekish ago, not this past weekend, so the weekend before this past weekend, so about 10 days ago.
Yes.
Sure. The Syracuse Crunch, our local hockey team. AHL affiliate of the Tampa Bay Lightning these days. They've switched a few times. I just got to get my radar up.
So that's also confusing.
Vancouver Canucks. They've been affiliated to several organizations, but for quite a while now, they've been the affiliate.
Yeah, they've been Lightning for a while.
Lightning and had a great relationship with the Lightning. So one of my old buddies from down there, Jim Sorosi, who's a vice president. When I first started covering Crunch games when I was in television here in Central New York, and working at Channel 9 TV, the ABC affiliate affiliate, Jim was just like the PR guy. You know, he was the guy that you got your press credentials from. He was the guy that you got the game notes from, and so on and so forth. But Jim has been in the organization longer than I've been in radio and television. I mean, like, he goes all the way back before I started TV. Jim was already in his position with the Syracuse Crunch. So he's about 4 or 5 years longer through his breadth of his career. So he's over 30 years with the Syracuse Crunch. And he popped me an email out of the blue. I hadn't talked to him in a while. I haven't, we don't really cover much hockey, obviously, on the pod. But I still love the Crunch organization, and I still love occasionally to go see games during the winter times. It's a great little respite. They have a great little arena in downtown Syracuse. And he popped me an email and said, hey, we're having our summer street hockey game, and they do this every year during the summer. They have all these kids come in and they play hockey game, street hockey, and then they bring in celebrities / local media / people that work for the Crunch. So adults, okay?
Yeah.
Adults that work for the Crunch, media people who cover the Crunch, and any other local celebrities.
Oh, I remember these games. Yes.
And I used to play them when I was at Channel 9. I played them for a few years, but you know, for a million reasons, you know, bad back, old age, other things, summer months, I'm looking to get away. So I was out of town quite a bit. So I hadn't played in one in a long time. And he reached out to me and said, would you like to play? And I was so touched by the fact that we haven't spoken in so long, and that he reached out to me, that I said, I will come. I said, but Jim, in all honesty, the most athletic thing I do these days is play golf. So I will come and I will spend the whole game there, but you're going to have to give me like honorary captain status or associate head coach or something. And I'll root on the guys. I'll help put the lineup together. I'll take my hat off and, tip my hat to the fans, but playing street hockey is not happening anymore. I'm not doing that. As fate would have it, by the way, this, Boy Green, I hurt my back. I'm actually finally getting a little bit better.
Yes, right. You talked about this,
in about 11 days. So it's been a chore to kind of get back to normal, and I'm still not there. But that street hockey game was 2 days after I completely threw out my back.
Oh,
so I went down to that street. See, I'm one of those people, when I say yes to someone on something, unless I really, it's just impossible for me. And especially Jim, having reached out to me after all these years, there's just no way I wasn't showing up. Like, I was coming no matter what. I mean, my wife was like, are you crazy, man? You can't, you barely can get out of a chair. So just get me down there, honey. You're going to help me, I'll bring a chair to sit on. I'll wear my back brace. I'm not playing. All I got to do is be there for a few hours. I want to do this for my friend. He was nice enough to reach back out to me after all these years. I wanted to make sure that I honored that friendship. And so I showed up, limped my dead carcass down there and sat on the sideline. Our old pal Brent Axe was there.
Of course, he's always there. Yeah.
He's been there every year. I said, Brent, you've been doing this? Yeah, I missed one. I'm like, good grief, man. Good for you. Brent's only a few years younger than me, so good for him. Yeah. And Keith Coblin was down there, a former Channel 5 anchor from one of the local affiliates here who works at Syracuse University. So it's nice. I saw some old friends, dare I say, and we had a good time. One of the things they do, gets into the story here, is they give you a personalized jersey. So that jersey looks a little like a football jersey, but that's actually
it looked Giants. Let me full screen it here.
And it almost looks like Lurch got recruited by the Giants, but
we
were and as happenstance would have it, Boy Green, there was a white team and a blue team. Just by happenstance, I ended up on the blue team.
And
then when I brought on the jersey, I was like, that jersey is pretty cool. When the heck am I ever going to wear this again? But man, this would make a great prop to throw up there occasionally behind me in the video. So that's exactly what I've done. So thanks to Jim Sorosi and all the wonderful people, Howard Dogan, whose birthday it was today, believe it or not. Today was Howard Dogan's
happy birthday.
So
of course.
Happy birthday, Howard. Howard. So I just wanted to, as an homage to the Crunch, but it almost looks like nice. Lurch was recruited by the Giants there. It's the same blue color almost that the Giants wear. So that's the origin of the jersey behind me. So make for a cool prop for a few videos at least. So
sure. I've had this for quite some time. So hey, it's a nice decorative piece. Yes.
Yeah, where'd you get that jersey from?
So a sponsor, so an old sponsor I no longer work with, they were a fan of the show and they said, hey, we'd love for you to promote. And one of the things we'd like to do is send you a care package. I said, okay. Nice. And I had no idea what they were sending. I opened up this care package. There's a football in there. There's this custom jersey they made and all kinds of things for the kids. There's some socks and other stuff and little gizmos, gadgets, toys. I went, wow, they really gave the whole recruiting pitch to get me to be a part of their team for a while. And I was, and just a nice jersey, Boy Green. There you go. Nice.
And they got the 25. They got that part right too.
They did, yeah. So they
In
must
my
have just
case, I
heard
got
the
to tell
story.
them what number I wanted and what I wanted
Oh,
on
I
the
didn't
jersey.
have to
So,
tell them.
yeah,
I did
you
not
did.
have to tell them. So
You
shout
got
out to the
hooked up, so.
sponsors doing their homework. The Boy Green 25, what it all means from my football playing days. So appreciate the attention to detail there. Very nice.
And again, for me, again, if I was, on my deathbed, I probably wouldn't have gone. But the fact that they go out of their way and they make a personalized jersey for everybody,
Yeah.
like I wasn't going to let them down on that. I had to
That's
show
nice.
them. So I'm
Yeah.
glad I did go. It was not a fun day for me per se with my back
Sure.
acting up, but
Yeah.
it was nice to see
But
old
you powered
friends.
through it like you
Yeah, powered
expect
through
any
it,
of your
and it
Giants
really
players on the Harbaugh
it
team
kind
to
of
do.
cheered me up a little, to be honest with you. Sometimes
well, that's good.
limping around with a bad back, you're not the cheeriest person in the world. You're a little grumpy and you're irritated, and everything is like, where's my water? God damn it, I'm thirsty. You get a little cranky. I hate that about that people get like that, but I can get like that. That's why I told you
You'd be
years
great
and
on
years,
Survivor.
I
You'd be
could
really
not
great on Survivor.
survive on Survivor. People would hate me in a week.
That'd be entertaining. I'd watch.
When I don't get fed, when I got bug bites. Oh God, bug bites are. Bugs love me. Mosquitoes will they'll ignore everyone else and give me 10 bites. Like I'll be so miserable. Bad.
But make
breath.
sure that you're fed. Go fish. Go
oh,
jump out there with the Hawaiian sling and go catch some fish for the tribe. What do you
probably
mean?
try to do what I could, but I just my nature would start to kick in. I hate.
Just become head of the tribe.
And I'd go back and watch it, and I'd hate myself. And I'd be like, I'm not really that way, I swear. But I wasn't being fed, and I was got bug bites, and I was in pain, man.
So wait, are you going to be one of those people that complains about the edit? The edit. I'm not really like those people. They caught me in a couple of moments here.
Yeah, no. Well, that they can edit you badly, but
apparently
they wouldn't have to in my case. I'd just be complaining constantly and bringing everybody down, and they'd be like, man, that guy's a wet rag, for God's sakes. Let's get him out of here. Although I could be the guy they drag to the end. I'd just be miserable all the way to the end. I could be the Emily, dare I say, of
Yeah, you get a higher payout, by the way, the deeper you go, I hear. So
okay, well, that's nice. Yeah. So no, you'd be great on Survivor. I would be a miserable mess.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see what happens if I ever make it on that damn show. They are now casting someone. The casting people that work on the Survivor team are sending out now more videos to try to encourage people, and they try to say, "Hey, I'm blah blah blah. This person that works at Survivor. Here are the things we're looking for. We're open now for the next 3 months." This stuff used to be more secretive. You didn't know when they were recording seasons and things of that nature. So they're more open about it now. So we'll see.
All right, I want to talk to you about Jets camp, and if you want, you can throw the phone line situation, members only phone lines, right in the comments, and we can kind of work with calls while we're discussing Jets camp. Because Boy Green was just down yesterday for his second trip to Jets camp. Did it as a VIP this time around, but this was a good one. I mean, he got to see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Jets in one of those joint practices, which I think is always fascinating. You get to see two teams in one. You get to see guys actually facing opponents rather than your teammates. I always think that's fascinating. And there was some interesting personalities certainly on the Bucs. Of course, you have Baker Mayfield. Boy Green even sent me a video, and I posted it on our site, of Riley Dixon. Riley Dixon, former punter here of the great Syracuse Orange years ago. And not only was he a punter, he was did all these trick plays with the Orange. He was fantastic. And he's been in the NFL now for, it's got to be a dozen years, something like that.
Oh, a long time. There's actually another Syracuse guy I wanted to get my hands on. Sean Tucker, of course, is on the Bucs. So there's Andre Cisco on the Jets. There's a few Syracuse guys.
That's some love.
Kingsley Jonathan. He's another one I met after practice the other day. I was talking about, we followed each other back from the Syracuse days. It said, it's Paul. I covered you way back in the day. Went, oh man, that's awesome. So there's some good stories shared. There's a lot of Syracuse guys. So that's very nice.
All right, so phone lines are open. Boy Green will pin that to the top of the comments. BG, what about Jets camp? So let's talk a little bit about what you saw. You've seen the Jets play now twice in camp. That's an advantage in itself. What was the environment like? And then let's talk about some of the battles. I know you've been watching some battles in particular very, very closely.
Very much so. Yeah, I'll start with the scariest situation that existed near the end of practice. The player's name is Quantez Stiggers. He is a former Canadian football player. He was a Canadian Football Player of the Year. Very unique story. A lot of people have written about his story. He was supposed to go to college, play college football. He had a tragic death in the family, so he had to pull out of college football to take care of his family. And he was sort of going through that process. And, he sort of did a normal job. He was working at like I've never even heard of this till he said the job. There's apparently where Mack trucks come through, Lurch, someone has to wash the Mack trucks like when they're on long journeys. So he worked at like a Mack truck washing place, and I went, wow, that's a thing. So he had this very unique story. Anywho, someone in his family told him, "Hey, have you heard of 7-on-7 fan football?" And he went, what is that?" And apparently it's some football league where the fans vote on the plays live from the stands, and then the players on the field play the plays of the fans. So it's some bizarre, funky league. Anywho, Qantas stickers popped up on radars of Canadian Football League teams. Like, who's this kid making all these, like, he was breaking interception records in this made up league. And so they brought him in. He had a tryout, was the rookie of the year in the CFL. And then according to the NFL rules, he had to enter the draft. He couldn't just be a free agent. Anywho, so he has this amazing story. He was at Jets training camp and he was involved in a play. And then you see him go over to the sideline, and the rest of the media couldn't see. They're high perched up. We're the fans. We're much closer to the action. They couldn't see who the player was, and we couldn't at first until you see the jersey number. But he collapsed on the sideline, and it was just very bizarre. Medical team rushes on the scene. Thank goodness all these NFL teams are at the ready just in case something goes wrong. An ambulance pulls up, and they put an IV in him. And apparently he passed out, went unconscious. And it was a combination of a concussion he suffered and heat exhaustion. So very scary situation. Training camp practice was halted for a very large period of time. Ultimately, he was able to get on the back of an ambulance and ultimately be okay. He was just released from the hospital last night. So thankfully he's back home recovering, but very scary situation. And I accidentally broke the news of who the player was because the media did not know. So I tweeted out like, Qantas stickers has an IV. He's out on the sideline. And the media picked it up. So I didn't mean to break that news. It just happened by accident, I guess. Yeah. So, so anywho, that was very sad and scary. Thankfully, he's okay. Thank God. That was very scary. And it was very nice. His mother reached out. She saw the updates I was sharing on it, and she was very moved by it. So I said, "Oh, well, Mama Stickers, very nice." Or grandma or someone in his family circle reached out. So I thought that was very nice. So that was a scary situation that happened during camp. But no, it was just intense. There are pads on. The first time I went to practice, pads were not on. So that changes an element, of course, physicality. Another team being there. I was there for the first of 2 joint practices. The second joint practice happened today. And there was a lot of fights, Lurch. When you get different colored jerseys, green on pewter or green on white or whatever the case is.
Intense.
Yeah, it got chippy. Got chippy because, like, the Bucs would make plays on the Jets and talk trash, and then the Jets would make plays on the Bucs and talk trash, and the other team didn't like it, and it just it heated up, got intense. People were ripping helmets off, throwing them up in the air, bench clearing brawls when they thought someone got the better of somebody. So it was like, Lurch, you saw Game of Thrones, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, one of the scenes of Battle of the Bastards is Jon Snow by himself. It's a GIF now where he pulls out his sword and then it's him versus an army of people running at him. So it just sort of felt like that because when someone was sort of miffed, either a Jet was miffed by a Buck or a Buck was miffed by the Jets, you just looked over to the sideline and you just saw, like, we are Sparta, a line of 50 Buccaneers saying, "Oh, enough of this. We're running in." Jets went, "Oh, well, we're running in." And then it was just blah, 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 blah. And you're like, oh my God, just hopefully no one gets hurt. So yeah, it was a bit of a disaster for some of that. But again, there's a lot of testosterone going on out there. I anticipated some fights. So there was fights. There was big plays. Gino had a terrible practice when I was there. He threw 2 picks. One was a pick 6 and 7-on-7s. Throwing off his back foot, looked awful. And then another one, the receiver fell. Garrett Wilson fell, but he threw a pick 6, and Buccaneers people were talking trash. But apparently today, Gino looked great, threw multiple touchdown passes. The defense was giving the standout, I would say, David Bailey. Apparently, both practices, he was giving Baker Mayfield problems. Apparently, David Bailey, one of the plays today, came too close to Baker Mayfield, and he is a fiery guy, as we all know. And so they were talking trash to each other. So it was just good. It was good to see. And I'm excited. Aaron Glenn announced that all the starters are playing in the preseason game on Friday night. Like, let's go. Not every team does that anymore. I think it's exactly what the Jets need. New offensive coordinator, new quote-unquote defensive coordinator. Aaron Glenn's calling the defensive play. So they need as much PT as possible before we get to the regular season. So, yeah, again, a perfect combination of everything. It was a little hotter, the practice we went to yesterday. But, yeah, fights, touchdowns, sacks. I mean, it was awesome. So thank you to the Jets. I got the VIP treatment this time on the pass back here. I'm showing my Boy Green jersey, but there you go. You can see the VIP pass hanging back there. Thank you to the Jets for taking care of me. Very nice.
Yeah. Badshaw's asking about the jersey number behind me, Manchild.
Yeah.
What's up with that jersey? Is 22? Yeah, 22 is my lucky number, Badshaw. My birthday's the 22nd. My son's birthday's the 22nd. Yeah, 22 is a big number. That's why we do our raffles on the 22nd of the month. So it's a really, really neat thing. All right, you want to jump over to the phone lines? We'll squeeze in a few calls. I know we only have a few more minutes. Boy Green's got to do a baseball game tonight, so he's back on the road again. So we can't just go on forever and ever today. So go ahead, pop up our callers and let's have some fun talking some football here.
Let's go to the Lane Train. He joins us now. What's up, Lane?
What's up, Lane Train?
Hello, Jim, the Manchild Lynch. So
That is him. Yes.
I was just going to say, how do you feel about the football game on Friday?
Just in general, how do I feel about the game?
Yeah,
Jets Bucs.
I feel like it's time to play some football. I feel like what Boy Green was just saying there about starters playing and getting to see the actual, real team together on the field together, blocking and hitting guys is
last year,
tremendous, colossal. Yes.
Last year, because the thing is, they didn't have it. You don't start somebody in the first quarter if they're not ready, because they end up, injuring themselves. That's what happened to Tom Brady.
Gotcha.
Yeah. All right, Manchild, I'll be right back. A package was just delivered.
Oh, all right. Some kind of cool package.
This package. Ooh, that is pretty nice.
This is exciting. It's like a FedEx guy walking up to his door right now or
a
something.
FedEx? Yeah.
Hopefully it's not
They
Jamie.
always do that.
FedEx guy. That'd be a bad package delivery if Jamie was coming up there. But yeah, so are you excited to see them hit? Excited to see them hit each other?
Going into, because you start David Bell. Bailey, rather.
David Bailey. Mm-hmm.
And you have Geo Smith coming back since 1998. And, they should really start winning games. I don't know if they could win. You're playing a good team on Friday.
Lane, let me ask you, at draft time, were you a Bailey guy or were you a Reese guy?
Well, I'm happy about Reese, that the Giants have Reese also, because I like the Giants. But we don't know how he's going to come out. It's his first year. I know that you have other players on the Giants also, like their coach. They hired John Harbaugh,
yes.
Because after firing the last coach. So anyway, you have the schedule. They play Dallas starting.
Yes, we do.
week 1.
Yep.
Is that I don't know if is that a Saturday or is that a Friday that they play?
That is a prime time game. Gosh, I don't know what night of the week it is off the top of my head, but it's a prime time. It's Sunday night. I think it's the Sunday night game, I'm pretty sure. So it's Sunday night football, I'm pretty sure. Once Paul comes back in here, and he'll be back in just a second, he'll know right off the top of his head. He studies the schedule stuff, and I don't study it in the same parameters. But yeah, to be honest with you, now that it's on the slate and it's there, I'm excited about this. The Giants playing the Cowboys in week 1, but when it was announced, I was like, come on already. What do we got to do that again? PG, is that a Sunday night game, that Giants-Cowboys game, week 1?
Sunday Night Football, yes.
It's Sunday night, yep. So that's what I thought. I knew it was a primetime game.
And then you go ahead and play week 2, week 3, week 4, and week 5. I don't know if the Giants play the Jets this year.
No, they don't.
Regular season.
In the preseason, but not the regular.
The old Snoopy Bowl in the preseason. That's about
why? Wait, why is that they don't play in the preseason?
What they do play in the preseason, but not in the regular season. Once every 4 years.
Yeah. Regular season is one every 4 years, right? That's correct, PJ?
That's correct. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Once every 4 years. All right. One final comment, Lane. Go ahead. Give you the mic one more time. Go ahead.
Yeah, and Jets.
Just end it with a
That's
chant.
all.
There's no better way to
Let's
go out than that.
go.
Thank you,
Wow.
Lane. Awesome, my
Thank you.
friend. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for calling in. Appreciate it. Phone lines open for a couple more minutes before Boy
Yes.
Green's got to get out of here. What's the box? What's this mysterious box?
Okay. I'll give you a chance to guess.
It's
Okay.
huge, man. Oh, I think I know what it is now. Looking at the size of that box.
Okay.
Is that
What
the
is
draft board for the Champs League live draft?
It sure is, Lurch. So
it is.
the
The
here.
board is in, baby.
Yeah.
Woo!
So see,
Let's
I want
go.
to make this clear. BG wasn't doing some personal shopping. Oh, I've got a new Jets football or something out there.
Yeah.
No, I was keeping an eye. They do. Thankfully, this company does a wonderful job and says, hey, your package is out for delivery. Hey, your package should be there tomorrow between this plumber time of 9 to 5. Hey, your package was just delivered. So I love the new world. This didn't always exist. You know this better than me, Lurch, and Jamie and our audience probably knows. They're like this process of like telling you just had to check. Oh, is something here? No, not yet. So yes, this is it, Lurch. Thank goodness. What are we? Let me see the dates. So it's Friday, September 4th. So what are we? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, like 3-ish weeks away. A little over 3 weeks away from our draft. So all the materials are here. We got to make sure we rally our group, Lurch. Thankfully, Jamie, I think he roped in Zach Matiasik, but we need to see interns and stuff to help us with this draft process. We need to get a crew together. So
good point there. Good point. Good question here coming from the Ball Knowers podcast here in the comments. He says, Manchild, who do you think will be the Giants' second leader in receiving yards? What a great question that is. Whoa. I mean, first of all, let's start with who's got to be the first guy, and that has to be Malik Neighbors, and hopefully, he does play in week 1 or shortly thereafter. So I think, assuming good health and assuming a somewhat, quick return to action, if not before the season starts, as the season starts, that it's going to be Neighbors. Now, number 2 is interesting. I'll tell you who I'd love to see as number 2, but I don't think it's really in the cards because of the position he plays. But I would love to see Isaiah Likely.
That's what I wrote down. Wait, what do you mean his position? You don't think he can be a second leader? Some teams have a tight end as a leader overall.
Yeah, I know, but the Giants, I don't know. I mean, again, we have a new coach, so everything changes with a new coach. But historically, the Giants, I don't know. They tend to ignore the tight end sometimes.
Yeah, but who is it going to be? Darius Slayton? Malachi Fields?
I know.
Who's
you look at the other
person?
Guys and you say, well, who else is it going to be? All right. Maybe I shouldn't be unrealistic in thinking that it's going to be Likely. Maybe we need Isaiah Likely to be the second leading receiver. How much would you put him down for? If he had a good year, BG, if he went out there and had a good year and he balled, what kind of yardage would you say? How many catches, how many yards, roughly?
Okay, I have a number in my head, but I would just want to double check his Ravens statistics. Okay, good. Okay, my number was
his statistics are not great.
They're not. His career high in each of his seasons were 42 catches, not high at all. 477 yards, not high at all. And 6 touchdowns. That's, not everyone gets double-digit touchdowns. So his touchdowns are respectable. That's fine. As a career high, that's not his total. Right. So I would project if he was the second leading receiver for the Giants, he was somewhere in the ballpark of 750 to 800 yards.
Right.
50 to 60 catches and then touchdowns he's a really good red zone threat, so he could be utilized. It depends on the Giants, I guess.
11.
But probably a career high in receptions, yards, and touchdowns. His touchdowns are probably 7 touchdowns. So I think that's the type of package we could see. Yes.
Okay, I'm in agreement. So I think Isaiah Likely. That's an answer from the 2 of us, and I would be pretty much on. I'd like to see 60 catches at least. Let's get that number to 60. Okay. That's true production. That's truly targeting a guy. Part of the issue with the Giants is they do still have Theo Johnson, and they're going to throw the ball to him as well. And then you've got this bevy of other guys. Who knows how it's all going to shake out with those other guys? Is it going to be good Darnell Mooney or bad Darnell Mooney? Is Malachi Fields the rookie going to blossom before our very eyes and be in the mix a lot sooner than some people maybe think at this point? That would be a nice surprise as well. So there could be some surprises here. Will the Giants get it out of the backfield into the backs a little bit more often in this new offensive system? So I think there are a lot of things to be discovered here, but I'd like to think it'd be Likely. So I think I'm in agreement with you there, BJ.
Yeah. Again, the more, just because Isaiah Likely has a ton of potential, that's why the Giants paid him so much. It's not based on what he has done. It's what they think he can do. So it's a combination of him and the lack of other options. Because hell, Isaiah could be number 1 if Neighbors. It's not even about, to me, starting week 1. Sure, that'd be nice. But what about finishing the end of the season? Is Neighbors still going to be there? So, I think Likely is the most likely. Yes.
Likely is the most likely. There you go. You get it right there. People asking some questions about the Giants' schedule. I mean, we talked about it weeks ago, but I don't remember all of it, all of the things in the
Right.
schedule. So one of the comments there, if you want to throw it up, BG, it's just a couple of comments on the bottom was who the Giants play in. What is it? Weeks 3
and 4 and 5 and 6. Oh, I have their schedule in front of me.
Yeah,
actually,
I'm looking at it right now. So
yeah.
week 3 is the Tennessee Titans. Week 4 is Arizona.
Yeah.
Week 5 is Washington, and week 6 is New Orleans.
3 of those 4 are at home.
3 of those 4
way.
at home. The Washington game is the only road game. Yeah, so you
Correct.
jumped on that too.
Yes.
Yep.
So there you go. Lane Train getting some Giants questions in. That is.
So I mean, look. I mean, they start off with Dallas and the Rams. I mean, not ideal. Although I think they have the potential to beat Dallas, but it's asking a lot on opening night. But it is, at MetLife. So I'm gonna go under the thought here that if the Giants are going to really do something this year and they are going to make the playoffs, they got to win that game. At home against a division rival. And I think it's doable. I
should be rooting for you because, again, Cowboys losing is good for the Jets, but I don't see that at all.
Man of many doubts here, man, and be man of many things. But if they get that one and then they lose to the Rams on the road, they could run off. Tennessee, Arizona. I don't know about what. Now Washington lost Tunsil. That thing is getting dicey, man. That's already getting dicey. And New Orleans, I think New Orleans is actually going to be an improved team. So
I do too.
I kind of disrespected them
awesome.
when we were talking about them early in the summer, and now that I've had a chance to really look at their roster, look at a little more tape of Tyler Shuck and what he can do, I'm like, oh boy, that team actually has some potential to be at least. They're not going to, they're not running, into the Super Bowl, but they're going to be, I think they're going to be in it. They're going to be in the mix of winning games, and they're going to be competitive. I think they're going to be very competitive. That's what that's my line I'll draw in the sand for the Saints.
I have the Giants at 3 and 5 through the first 8 games of the season. So I don't see it, but hey, you know what? Crazy things can happen. So
you have them losing that Dallas game?
I absolutely have them losing that.
Well, that makes them 4-4 right out of the box because they'll win that game. So, okay. And what other games you have them? What other games?
The Rams?
They'll lose that game. Okay. What else?
Okay. All right. Finally, at least we can agree on something. Okay. Sure, you could beat Tennessee.
I think
sure
so.
You could beat Arizona.
I think so.
Washington, that one. So I don't know what Jaden Daniels are we getting. Year 1 or year 2?
That is on the road. That is on the road, but it's a 50-50 game. Something.
Yeah, that's a 50-50. Yeah, I'll give that a loss. So you lose to Washington. Saints, the good thing is that you're at home instead of being in the Superdome. But I'm really high on the Saints this year. I like Tyler Shuck.
I think it'll be a competitive game.
And Houston, oh my goodness, that defense could eat Jackson Dart for breakfast. That defense is amazing.
That could be trouble.
And then the Eagles. So you have a bye week. Oh wait, on the road against the Eagles. Yikes, that's tough.
Yeah, I mean, they've got some easy games mixed with some hard games in the early part of that season this season. So it's going to be very, very interesting.
But I will just say a quick heads up here is just Ball Norris podcast. Yes, I am very blessed. There's been some sweet things. I have some canvases behind me, but when I move it to the new office, I can rearrange everything. But yes, I've gone to the draft. I've gone to multiple Jets practices. I mean, I've gone to so many cool things. And well, it's going to continue to the season, and we'll have to figure it out with our schedule.
Yeah, you're going to some of these
3 of the first
games.
5 games of the season. I've never been to that many Jets game in a single season ever. It's just sort of weirdly worked out that way. Got my tailgate party. I'm going to Nashville. I'm going to Green Bay. Some people in our audience have been very kind to hook me up with this, hook me up with this, hook me up with this, like a pieces to make it possible. Because normally I couldn't afford to do something like that. So yeah, I'm very lucky, and hopefully I can share some of that content with the universe. So that's what I'm
giving a little Giants love here. I think the Giants can sweep the Commanders. Daniels is overrated.
Daniels is overrated.
We're going to find out. I mean, that was a lot of injury stuff,
Definitely.
Not only Daniels himself, but things are going on around him. Let's see. The Commanders are a great mystery this year. They are a mystery, or what is it? An enigma, a mystery wrapped in a riddle, right? They are like unwrapping a brand new present. You don't know what's in it at Christmas under the tree. Like that's what they are this year. And I think to a certain extent, the Giants might be of similar ilk. We'll see whether they're still kind of the loser Giants and that prevailing wind and that stench hasn't gone out of the building yet, or whether we see, oh, hey, I didn't expect this. I didn't expect that. And that opening nighter against the Cowboys could go a long way in getting some respect if they could find a way to win that game. That's for sure.
I think that's, again, it's funny that there's sort of this parallel between the Jets and Giants. The Jets play this Titans team, which stinks. And it's about beating this team that stinks to just sort of set the tone right in a different way. The Giants are not playing a team that stinks. The Cowboys are really good. If you look at the Super Bowl odds, they're up there. But the Giants have past demons. They've gotten pelted by the Dallas Cowboys just in general, but specifically week ones. I remember week one where the Giants opened at home and lost 40-0 to the Dallas Cowboys, and that rain slop, Daniel Jones, and oh God, that was disgusting. So if the Giants can win that game, I think all of a sudden you believe, oh, this Rams team everyone's talking about, we're 1-0. Why not us? And that's the Harbaugh way. And then all of a sudden you're off to the races. You conquer your demons. You lose to that game. You could easily see 0-2, and then all of a sudden you're like, boy, not another slow start. We've dug ourselves in a hole. Now we got to find our way out. Then all of a sudden there's some desperation that comes in immediately. So, yeah, Cowboys game is huge for the Giants. I just think it could set a tone.
Definitely could set a tone. It's a big, big game. All right, look, I know you got to get to a baseball game tonight, so I don't want to prolong the agony here and prolong the show today. I want to thank everybody from getting in the comments and giving us some love there. We'll be back live again next Monday and Wednesday, same old time, 3:00 in the afternoon. Please tell people who aren't aware that we've now switched the time to 3:00, that it's now at 3. We have plenty of people in the room today. Thanks for everybody who jumped in there and joined us. On the way out, please, if you're not already a subscriber, Boy Green just threw up the link there, youtube.com/@MCShowDigital. Man, help rally us to 1,000 subscribers. We're a little less than 40 from getting there, and really, really need your help getting there. Share our link out with friends. See if they'd be willing to subscribe. 1,000's a big landmark in the YouTube world, and it gets us some extra superpowers that we don't have right now. So we're really, really trying to push to get 1,000. So if you can help us get to that finish line, that would be awesome. It'd be a big, big help. So just want to remind you that. Want to thank Matt Lombardo for joining us today as well, giving us a little love as our NFL insider. Go to his website, betweenthehashmarks.com. He's constantly putting out content on the NFL. He's heading to Giants camp. So for all of you Giant fans, in a couple of days, there'll be some interesting stuff. I'm sure he's going to take all that baggage I gave him today on Harbaugh and bring that to Giants camp, and maybe he'll even talk to some people.
Ooh, ask Harbaugh about Minter and all that. That'd be great.
Well, yeah, Harbaugh will be nice, though. He'll be kind about that. But I don't know. The grass is not always greener. That's all my main point of that was the grass is not always greener. I got mad respect for John Harbaugh. I hope he lives up to my
obviously
hype,
yeah, right.
Of what I think. But I know that I know one thing. The Giants needed a guy like him right now. Okay.
Of course.
Now let's see what it turns into, wins and losses. But the Giants needed a guy like him right now. Somebody who has full command, who's done it before, who has a proven track record. The Giants needed that because they've just been through this terrible, just trying bad thing after bad thing, and it just has to change. Boy Green, final thoughts if you have any. Go ahead.
Yeah, just again, it was super fun to go to the training camp practices. I can't wait for the preseason game. I'm doing it again, Lurch. I'm a sick son of a gun. I'll be doing play-by-play coverage for the Jets the entire preseason and most of the season outside of the games I'm going to. So I'll be in a new setup for the regular season. I won't be, obviously, for the preseason. I'm still here at the house. But, yeah, I'm excited for it, and apparently I may have some new twists coming on that. So stay tuned, people.
Okay. All right. Stay tuned for all that kind of stuff. All right, folks. Still plenty of content coming your way the rest of this week. We'll get to our insiders, Jets, Giants, and Bills as the week goes on. So all those videos will be coming your way shortly. Thanks to everybody for tuning in, and we will see you live on Monday. Take care. Peace out.